Pep Guardiola is set to leave Manchester City at the end of next season, despite City, the club, wanting him to stay. In an exclusive article today from a journalist very connected to Manchester City, the claim is that Pep will leave at the end of next season. Discussed in this article other potential replacements that we are going to sit and talk to you about now. But of course, hit the like buttons. Make sure you are subscribing. Pep Guardiola potentially leaving Manchester City is seismic for every club in the Premier League. The greatest manager of his generation, the second, maybe even the first, doesn't really matter. One of the top two managers in the history of the Premier League, somebody who has got City to a stage where they are so dominant, so potent, so dangerous. This story has now been kind of rambling on for 10 or 11 days. Remember, there was the David Ornstein sort of throwaway comment on a Q&A he did, where he stated that industry insiders believe he will leave in the summer of 2025. I did a video on this after reaching out to somebody who I know, I would call a friend, someone that is very well connected to Manchester City and would not allow bullshit to be discussed if there wasn't an element of truth. And what he told us and what we revealed to the Football Terrace community was that I said, someone told me in the chat that you said Pep will leave next season. Is that true? Their response was true. So I then replied, this was, by the way, on the 17th of May, will he 100% go? Which was responded with, it's 90%. Also talk of KDB and others leaving. So this was 10 days ago. Since this point, also, Fabrizio Romano has been very vocal, saying there is a concrete possibility of Pep Guardiola leaving Manchester City in the summer of 2025. So when you start to add this up, it may not happen. Let me just say that now, in case he signs a new deal and someone says, Terry, you said he was leaving. I am not making the claim that unequivocally, 110%, he's leaving. I am simply looking at the facts in front of us. Two of the most credible football journalists in the world, in Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein, have spoke about it. Very rarely will they speak about a situation they don't have any understanding, idea of, knowledge on. They just don't talk about it. You then have the Daily Mail article that's really highlighting the situation, talking about the potential replacements. And this is a personal element. The connection that I have to somebody who is very close to Manchester City states that this is about 90% a guarantee from this stage. So a question to the viewers who didn't believe it 10 to 11 days ago that it was a possibility. I've seen the streams and I've seen the call outs from quite a number of City content creators saying it's a lie, it's clickbait, it's made up. I don't think it is. I don't think the story is made up. I don't think the idea that there is a concrete possibility that he could leave is made up. I personally believe that to be the truth at this particular moment. Now, we are going to keep you up to date with this story every single step of the way. The best place to do that is in the Football Terrace Telegram group chat. No one else can see your number. We post the stories. We post the links in there. It's a really nice place to be. We know YouTube isn't the greatest with sending out notifications, so it's a great way for us to keep you updated over the course of the summer and beyond it. What does this mean for the Premier League, though? On a personal level, I will celebrate his departure. Just like Sir Alex Ferguson at Manchester United, Pep Guardiola takes a very well-run team in Man City with an abundance of world-class talent, but he turns them into superhuman. He turns them into aliens. He turns them into an unrelenting force of nature. Now, they don't win every tournament every time they compete. We know this. This season alone, Man United and Real Madrid stopped this from happening as an example. But the power and the potency of Pep is that a defeat doesn't deter him. A defeat doesn't stop him from being Pep. It doesn't stop his team from returning back to the very top a season later. When Liverpool won the Premier League back in the 2019-20 season, it wasn't a particularly good year. That particular season, they looked kind of human in the league. But straight away, the following campaign, back to their very best. And this was very much Fergie-esque. And if you're too young to remember, you may not get it. But United could have an off season where we missed out on the title, or we fell away from the title race, maybe with 5-6 games to go. It wasn't a great year. The following campaign, we were nearly always back. We were nearly always at our potent best again. And it's that superhuman alien element that Pep brings to the City team that I will celebrate upon his exit. And you'll get City fans in the comments, Terry's buzzing about this. Of course I am. As a Manchester United fan, a rival of City, the idea of you losing your greatest ever manager with nobody else in the world, in my opinion, especially domestically, near his standard, of course I'm happy about it. On a human level, on a personal level, I understand that City fans will be gutted by this, but my message to City fans is simple. Enjoy the next 12 months. If this story's true, enjoy it. You are going through the greatest period in your club's history. I'm sure you'll win more trophies again next season. I'm sure you will. Enjoy it. Embrace it. Because it may never get this good again. Man United have had a period. Well, we did have a period in the 50s that was cut short. We had a period in the 60s. Then we had a period for about 20 years under Fergie. So over 130 odd years, we've had 2 or 3 periods where our team has been one of the best in the world. Liverpool, 130 plus year history, 70s and 80s, and then this Klopp era. We've had 2, so that 70s and 80s kind of merged into one another, and then they had this era. So they've had 2 or 3 in that period. And I'm talking about teams that have lasting dynasties across Europe. I'm talking about the 3 greatest English teams of all time, in my opinion: Liverpool, City, and Manchester United. And I don't mean on trophy totals. I just mean teams that in their pomp were dominant in Europe, successful in Europe, and dominated their league on a regular basis. And those 3 teams, those 3 clubs have done that. So City fans should embrace it. In terms of who comes in to replace him, we obviously know that Mikel was going to be on this list at Girona. He's obviously part of the City group already. You've got Julian Nagelsmann and Xabi Alonso upon this list. It's also still thought that Pep Guardiola may have an input in who the next manager will be, and he is at this stage still pushing and advocating for Roberto De Zerbi. So I do find it very interesting that a lot of people don't rate De Zerbi, but Pep Guardiola does. You've got Alonso on there that's already a proven winner, invincible in the Bundesliga, does a league and cup double this season, very close to completing a treble. It's going to be intriguing to watch what he does over the next 12 months. Nagelsmann, of course, staying at Germany. He gets this international tournament, a really nice pathway back into club football for him. And of course, there is a Girona manager's link to the club already. He'll be very well known, very well versed. And if they have another good season next year, have a good Champions League run, challenge again in the league, they may not win it. It's very, if he does it 2 years running, that shows the quality of that man. It really does. So some very capable candidates there lined up to replace Pep. So it isn't, listen, I've said it all along. Pep leaving will hurt City because he is simply the best. And none of those managers, in my opinion, are on his level. But I don't see City becoming a team that challenges every year to a team that becomes a top 4 contender or an also run. I still think there'll be title contenders every year. It will just be a little bit closer with other sides. And what you may also find is that Pep leaving may also lower the overarching standard, because maybe everybody won't push as hard anymore. As much as some people go, it's our time to now dominate because we're only a point or 2 behind City. And if City drop off by 9 points a season because Pep isn't there, we're going to win. Life doesn't always work that way. There might be an overarching standard slightly dip. And a lot of that may be subconscious. So I'm not going to put 2 and 2 together and say Pep leaves and 2 or 3 teams then jump above him because he's worth 10 points a season. There's multiple factors that go into this. But as ever, I want to get your reaction to this. As we state, the Daily Mail now believe it will happen. Fabrizio thinks it's concrete. Ornstein says industry insiders that he has spoken to believe it will be true. And people close to City say it's a 90% certainty that he will leave Manchester City at the end of next season. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. and I'll see you all again soon. Peace.